When it comes to the end of the year, it is usually never easy, especially when your team either A, doesn't make the playoffs like my Vikings, or if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, things just don't go according to plan in the first round against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, again, I know we put out a video the other day kind of just talking about, that this was an up and down season, that the Raiders, they showed a lot. But to me, I took another thing away from it that, I think at the end of the day, the Raiders need to hang their heads high. Like, they are one of those teams that if you look at them and what they're able to do, or what they were able to do this year, I think that they are not as far off as a lot of people think. Now, if you look at a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, who had, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, CJ Uzomah, said it right again, Joe Mixon at running back, like even T. Higgins, like there is so much talent offensively on that team that you're like, okay, like they are a legitimate offensive scoring machine, and they can put up a lot of points. Joe Burrow also showed a lot this year. I think Joe Burrow just deserves to be in that MVP conversation overall, but I get it, if they don't necessarily put him in that conversation, but I think the way he played this year, he deserves a lot of credit, and I think that the Bengals are going to be a tough team that are going to be able to put up a lot of points moving forward. But if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you look at what you got. Darren Waller is one of the best tight ends in football. Josh Jacobs is constantly one of those guys you can lean on in your run game. Offensive line, Colton Miller at left tackle, great. Other than that, you're like, okay, I think every other position other than that, for the most part, could probably use an upgrade at some point. So you got some work to do on the offensive line. You've got guys like Brian Edwards, who decides to show up in flashes. You're like, okay, like it would be great. Deshaun Jackson, I think if this team decides to keep him around long term, I think that could be a good thing. But overall, I think that they could explore other options in the draft that could definitely light up this offense. So then you take a look over at the defensive side of the football. Denzel Perryman had a great year this year. You got Max Crosby, Unique Ngakoue, one of the best edge rushing duos in the league that doesn't get nearly enough credit. And I think, this is such a talented team that you have to look at everything that they bring to the table. You can't just look at, obviously we talked about their defense, that's brought up a lot, but, overall this entire roster has a lot of talent. I know we've touched on a little bit of it, but the biggest thing I take away from all this is that the Raiders are close. Like, I'm talking a speedy wide receiver, maybe an upgrade in the interior offensive line, and maybe a right tackle. And I think that they're good. Now, could you do some other things to help, smooth some things out, like bring in a potential replacement for a guy like KJ Wright? Maybe. Or you could, see what you got in guys like Marquil Lee, Kyle Wilbur. But I think that could be what the move is going forward, because KJ Wright is approaching that that age where you're like, okay. Also, defensive line wise, Quentin Jefferson and Jonathan Hankins were pretty good this year. I really liked what I saw overall. Also, Solomon Thomas and Darius Philon, that was a big loss heading into the playoffs. That was a big loss. I think, he's a guy that will continue to bring it for the Raiders. You guys got players like Carl Nassib, Malcolm Kuntz. So defensive end wise, you're probably going to get rid of Cleveland Farrell, and I'm sorry for that, because I feel like at a different spot, maybe at a different team, he could definitely revive his career. But Malcolm Kuntz also. So defensive end, you're stacked. Okay, we get that. But also on the linebacker side of it, Divine Diablo. Sorry, I'm never good at pronouncing names. Nick Moreau. Now, I don't know. I feel like in, what is it, Kwiatkowski or whatever. It sounds like the guy from The Longest Yard. I'm sorry, but overall, was it The Longest Yard? Yeah. And there's talent on this squad. Like we said, Denzel Perryman had a big year this year. Could you look to upgrade at the outside linebackers position over KJ Wright? I think it needs to be in the discussion. Could you also bring in some help on the corners to help them out as well? I think that's also another thing you need to take a look at. But overall, the Raiders have a lot of things to work with. They have a lot of different things going for them now. I know Richie Incognito. I was so disappointed to see that he was placed in the IR a while back. I was disappointed he couldn't play. He is still such a good player. He brings an attitude. I don't know why, but I went down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day, and I was watching him interact with that franchise. And he's just, the attitude he brings is just such a big part of that team and that offensive line. You don't know how much longer you're gonna have a guy with Incognito, but he's a guy that he brings that attitude. He brings that presence that you need on the offensive line, and I think if they can get him back for at least another year, I think that could be huge. But overall, I think you are not very far off. You are close if you are the Raiders right now. So I think you keep Rich Bisaccia, you keep Derek Carr, see if he can take, that anywhere from that 18 to 25 million, so that way you can build around him, build that offensive lineup, whether it's through the free agency or the draft. Also defense, I would like to see, now this not just might be me, but I could be wrong, and that's okay, but I would like to see an outside linebacker that continually puts pressure on opposing quarterbacks that they bring on. They can also drop into coverage. Like we love Denzel Perryman. We always have. Trayvon Morrig and Jonathan Abram are both pretty good safeties in our mind. So a lot to build off of and a lot to go off of, I think, moving forward for the Raiders. And they're close. They are close. Maybe like one more, like if, and I all prayers for everyone involved in the Henry Ruggs situation, but like if that didn't happen, like, and I know that's something tough to talk about, but if that didn't happen, I feel like the Raiders would have been so dangerous, but it's not, it's a game of, what if these times. So I think if they get that juggernaut, that spark on the outside. Now, Deshaun Jackson's not there in his career anymore, but he still can give you a little something when you need it. But I think if you want a young player, you need to go after it in the draft, a young wide receiver that can be that spark for you. Nothing against Zay Jones or guys like that. Hunter Renfro's a really good player too, but I think you need to spark a field-stretching wide receiver that can just give corners and safeties headaches. But let us know what you guys think about the Las Vegas Raiders being close. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome, and we love every single one of you. Check out our website at thesportsbriefpodcast.com. Also in the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. Give us a like and a follow there. You'll also find a link to our iTunes. Make sure you give us a listen and sub there. And if you'd like us to cover anything else, make sure you send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the Las Vegas Raiders being close.